Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles did not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material and use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S. copyright law.
Quiero pensar, pero no puedo, no. El ruido en la ciudad está consumiendo, wow. Quieren pensar, sin ni siquiera estar al mando. Tanta publicidad subliminal te está matando. Les cuesta decidir por sí mismos cuál es su mando. Publican sonrisas con el corazón llorando. Quieren brillar, pero sin tener que valerse de tener sus ideas propias. Los veo a todos igual, solo son la réplica de la imitación de una triste copia. Obedece, la vida es un suspiro y envejeces. Te dejas distraer por estupideces y pierdes el eje. Te duele por dentro, entonces te creces, pero aceptas mucho menos de lo que mereces. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. Conserva tu juicio y tu intuición, más activos que el que lucha por lo suyo y no se rinde. Yo ya sé bien cuál es mi misión, y es contarte que el mal por su propio pie pronto se extingue. No caigas bajo su control, pues por la televisión es normal que mal lo pinten. Tú mantente firme en conexión con la fuente de creación, vivirás siempre de fin de. Dios abre los ojos, dime lo que ves. A tus propios hijos matándose por billetes. Niños mueren cada 2 por 3. Pa' unos es bendición, con otros por su causa pequen. Y yo que intento ser un ser crístico, voy bendiciendo hasta los diablos. Piensan que es cierto el mensaje típico, dicen que invento lo del engaño. Y mientras lucho contra mis errores, demonios escucho, me ofrecen soluciones. Pero sé que hay un ángel que quiere que mejore. Me dice haz un trabajo interno antes de que lo ignores, antes que otra vez llores y se llenen los mares de pena y de dolores, ya que en mi mente no caben. La paz no va en un sobre, somos algo importante. Nunca te revelaste y por eso no lo sabes. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que le di, sobre cómo actuar? ser feliz sin a nadie dañar. Solo así podrás brillar.
El autor viene a decirnos con mucha firmeza y gran convencimiento lo mismo que nos decía en el siglo XVIII el barón de Holbach, ¿no? Un filósofo francés de origen alemán. Si nos remontamos al comienzo, entonces hallaremos que la ignorancia y el temor crearon a los dioses. La fantasía, el entusiasmo o el engaño los adornaron o desfiguraron. La debilidad les rinde culto, la credulidad los conserva, la costumbre los respeta y la tiranía los apoya para que la ceguera de los hombres sirva a sus propios intereses.
Bueno. Hey, wait, hold on a second. Hold on.
¡Viva México, cabrones!
And for you haters.
Fuck that puto. Fuck that puto.
All right, okay. All right, here we go. Wait, hold on a second. Can you guys hear me? Let's see. The audio seems to be working. All righty. Well, all righty then. Well, fuck, man, we're live. Shit. I was really having a hard time trying to get going, fam. I had some things to do. I usually, try to plan it out and stuff, but it doesn't always work. So, saludos, brother. Oh, well, my bad. Saludos, brother. What a black star will be revealed. Isis says, you see what's happening in Mexico, tearing down the government, and then he starts laughing. I mean, I don't know why you would be laughing. Seeing stuff like that, it's nothing to laugh about if you know history, man, and you see shit repeat itself, especially from the people that are in control of that history at this very moment. I don't know why, but it seems like they want to repeat it again. And nevertheless, one thing we have to always be mindful is of the spirit of the people that are really running the show right this moment. We got to dissect their mentality, fam, and this is what I've always come to the conclusion of. Again, I'm not a 100% subscriber to Jasher, but I find some of the things in this book to be intriguing and even like on point. So, for example, on chapter 28, Jasher speaks about the way Esau was going to be. Hold on a second, fam. Sorry, I had made some tacos and I thought it was burning, but no, I did well. I cooked for my family tonight. You know what I mean? So I did something good for them. Thought I'd give my wife a break. Anyhow, look, it says here, Esau was a designing and deceitful man. You see, Jasher chapter 28, verse 20 says, and Esau was a designing and deceitful man. Designing. Deceitful. One who hunted after the hearts, meaning the minds of men. And for what purpose? To inveigle them or persuade them. So we see here a nation of people, because this is an individual that transferred the spirit to the seed over and over again. And we see it today. This is why I called it what I called it. Because, like, for example, family, like, who is using this shit? Is it the other countries sending this stuff over here that's using this shit? No, it's the people here using this shit. But for but you know, Esau being designing and deceitful, right? Propagandizing and making sure that he can create his propaganda in people's minds, in his system, to what? Deceitful, designing, thoughtful, persuasive. I think Psalms talks about that type of mindset, but it doesn't mention Esau, Edom. So I didn't want to use it. But it's quite clear what the fuck these people are about. Now, if we go to Enoch chapter 93, it even mentions something about certain people. And it's talking about, at this moment, the destruction of those. You know, some of us have been trying to walk in peace. Once we figured out how much shit we've been doing and try to live a good life, right? So Enoch 93:5 says, walk in the path of peace, that you may live and be found worthy. Retain my words in your innermost thoughts, and obliterate them not for your hearts, for I know that sinners counsel men to commit crime craftily. Holy shit. So now, keep in mind what it's just saying to us. It says here that there will be people persuading others to commit crimes craftily. For example, Esau, a designing, deceitful man. In Joshua 28:20, it says Esau was a designing, deceitful man, and one who hunted after the hearts of men and inveigled them, persuaded them. And what does it say here? You need to walk in peace. Because guess what? If not, for I know that sinners counsel men to commit crime craftily. They are not found in every place, nor does every counsel possess a little of them. Woe to those who build up iniquity and oppression, and who lay the foundations of fraud. For suddenly they shall be subverted, and never obtain peace. Who has done this? Who is doing this shit here, man? Look, let's put it this way. If we just want to talk about just on a political level, they don't give a shit no more. They're doing it to their own people now. Because what? Now it's about power. Remember, scripture talked about that, you know, wickedness will get more wicked, oppression would be more oppressive. Now it won't even care no more about who it's doing it to. Who lay the foundation. That's why things are going to be out of chaos. It ain't just going to be focused on certain people being, you know, oppressed. It's going to be a massive amount. That's why chaos is going to occur. Or at least that's what the prophecy states. Woe to those who build up their houses with crime. We know since 1492 that has occurred. Whether it's been done in the past, I don't give a flying fuck. It happened in the last 500 years, enough where I can kind of go back, if I could, to my last maybe 20 grandparents. I should have the right to do that, like other nations do. Like in Asia, they have that shit. In Arab countries, they have that shit. The people that have money specifically can go back into their bloodline. In Africa, the same thing. In Europe, the same fucking thing. But we don't, because our houses belong to someone else. So woe to those, meaning destruction, who build up their houses with crime. For them, their very foundations, so their houses be demolished. Keep in mind that once 1492 happened, they started taking land consistently from our gente. And it wasn't just one nation's family. We know this for a fact now. There ain't no more bullshitting again. Because just like other people have particular acreage, that's privilege by the white man. And y'all helped them. Those two who acquire, listen to this. For from the very foundation shall their houses be demolished by the sword, and by the sword shall they themselves fall. Those two who acquire gold and silver, and justly and suddenly perish. Woe to you who are rich, for in your riches you have trusted. What do the WASP say? The white Anglo-Saxon Protestants say that when you are blessed by God, that means you're wealthier. That's what they believe in, prosperity. They say it themselves in their evangelical fucking rooms. You have not remembered the Most High in your days. I'm sorry, woe to you who are rich, for in your riches you have trusted, but from your riches you shall be removed, because you have not remembered the Most High in the days of your prosperity, because you have not remembered the Most High in the days of your prosperity. He says it twice. You have committed blasphemy and iniquity and are destined to the day of effusion of blood, to the darkness, and to the day of great judgment. He's not kidding. And this is not random shit. You know, that's why those people that think that, Christianity is all about lovey-dovey shit. Well, yeah, because you motherfuckers are in power. Flip the script. If you said Christianity was all lovey-dovey, then how come whenever, matter of fact, I remember a conversation my daughter had with one of those kids in school a long time ago. This was like 2016, 2017. And they were talking about how fucking racist Trump was being, right? I'm busy right now. Let me go over it. Racist he was. And she asked him a question. I don't remember what it was, but he said something to the effect like, well, it's just that I'm scared because I don't want to be at the bottom. It was a white kid, you know? I don't want to be at the bottom. That's why I'm scared. Chapter 94 says, the righteous shall not fear the wicked, because God will again bring them on into your power, that you may avenge yourselves of them according to your pleasure. Shoosh. Now, is that something that a lot of us are going to get a chance? I don't know, man. That's pretty far-fetched, you know what I'm saying? And look, I'm telling you right now, there are times where I wish I would have that access. Woe to you who shall be so bound by, hold on, let me backtrack. Why do I feel this way? Because of the shit that I see. Okay? Because of the shit that I see on TV, man. Because of our people getting arrested because of the way we fucking look, bro. Because of that. There's no other reason. Like, I can't sit here and tell you like, oh, that doesn't bother me. I'm fine with that. You know? Like, I'm sure no. F that, man. That shit is fucked up if you really think about this, bro. The stuff that our people are going through. Matter of fact, you even have people regretting. Like, and I'm not really, giving them no freaking damn credit for regretting. But, I mean, at least they have some common sense. Sorry, I forgot to put this video in here, man. My bad. At least they have some common sense. Woe to you who shall be bound. Woe to you who shall be bound by execration, that you cannot be released from them. The remedy being far removed from you on accounts of your sins. You see, we all pay. And again, I know a lot of you Christmas Christians really believe that you're going to get away with it because, oh, I was not involved. If you are related in some way, shape, or form to anyone that did anything like this, the way it works is it's judgment on nations. It's not, individuals too, but judgment on nations. History has seen it. It doesn't even have to be biblical. Judgment on nations. Nations grow, nations get destroyed, and they usually get destroyed when they're at their worst fucking moment. Woe to you who recompense your neighbors with evil, or you shall be recompensed according to your work. So, a lot, like, for example, other religions, I don't want to say other religions because I'm not a religion, but in the Hindu thought, because there's a lot of branches in Hinduism, but in the Hindu thought, they got this thing called karma. Like, you live your karma. Basically, too, is that whatever you put out will come right back to you. I think that should be fair as hell. Woe to you, ye false witness, who aggravate iniquity, for you shall suddenly perish. So let's go from the beginning. Let's start from the top.
First of all, let's start with something light. Columbus initiated the transatlantic slave trade in early February 1494, first sending several dozen enslaved Tainos, these are the native people of the island that he landed on, to Spain. Columbus described those he enslaved as well-made and of good intelligence. He ordered 1,600 of them rounded up, and had 550 of the best males and females, according to one witness, Michel de Cuneo, chained and sent as slaves to Spain. Of the rest who were left, that person writes, the announcement went around that whoever wanted them could take as many as he pleased, and this was done. And understand that significant numbers of even those early slave deliveries ended up dying en route, possible. Now, the initial slave that we talked about proved to be unprofitable, but he later wrote, "Let us in the name of the Holy Trinity go on sending all the slaves that can be sold." So there you get both the religious and the commercial considerations in one sentence. When the slavery did not pay off, he turned to a tribute system, forcing every Taino of 14 or older to fill a hawk's bell with gold every 3 months. If successful, they were safe for another 3 months. If not, Columbus ordered that they be punished by having their hands chopped off, or they were chased down by attack dogs.
What up? What up? What up, Chris? Get out of here, bro. God, don't give wealth only the devil. Trump made America racist again. Yeah, well, they've always been. He just exposed it. Lady 33 says, I enjoy watching your channel. The only problem I have with you is that it seems like you promote hatred among races instead of trying to create unity among the races. Yeah, well, unfortunately, when you look at history, even with the video we just saw right now, like, history shows us that it's never about unity. It just seems like it. It's never about unity. If you go back into history, people fight among themselves because they're very tribal. People are tribal. Those are facts. You know, scripturally speaking, that's what it says too. The Bible says to the Israelites to stay within the Israelites. I'm assuming the Bible also says y'all stay within your nations. And you see those acts as well. Asians want to stay within Asian people. I mean, I don't want to say racist, but I think Asian people are very prejudiced among themselves. Matter of fact, even within themselves. Like, but I think more than race, from what I understand, they make sure not to get dark skin. So and that's because they don't want to be considered low class. India does the same thing, right? So it's like human nature for unfortunate reasons. And yes, I would love, honestly, Lady 33, I would love it if it was really like that. But the fact that it's not, that's the reality. And it seems like history constantly reminds us of it. Because like the hatred that we're getting as people right now from evangelicals, from right wingers, or even left wing, because a lot of them voted for this shit too. What, you don't think Obama deported and dumped a lot of our people, 3 million plus. He did it in secret. Oh, hey, with a smile. He bombed, I think, Afghanistan. Everybody was cool with it. He drowned them, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, he's a Democrat. So even if you lean left wing or right wing, either way, man, they don't do what they're supposed to, what they say they're going to do. They say no more wars. You continue with wars. So what I'm focusing on is the stuff that people have done to our gente, and making sure that they can understand how it relates to our history. And that, a lot of people, Christians specifically Christians, they love to point out what they know about the Bible and these particular interpretations. But it seems like Edom never really wants to expose who they really are in the Bible. If they know it so well, how come they never say who they are in the Bible? They never admit it. I mean, they kind of ran with the whole Israeli shit, and all of us can honestly say at this point that's very suspect. And that's not just me saying it. That's like there's almost everybody saying at this point, because it's very true. This is Isaiah 49. We're using different translations, the Oxford and annotated Bible with the Apocrypha. It says verse 7 concerning Edom. I'm going to skip some things and then I'm going to come back. Verse 20 says, therefore hear the plan that the Lord has made against Edom, and the purpose that he hath formed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the little ones of the flock shall be dragged away. Surely their folds shall be appalled at their faith. So this is a nation, Lady 33. Like this is God saying He's gonna really justify, and it has everything against what you mean. And again, I would love it that it was like that. And and if you consider it what I'm saying as hateful, then maybe you're just not used to my way of communicating, because all I do is speak facts of what occurred. You know what I'm saying? And all I'm also saying too is, like, a lot of times we used to blame the so-called Europeans for all the atrocities that occurred in slavery, but little did we know that a lot of those fuckers had help. You know what I'm saying? Right. The same over there in Japan. Well, oh yeah, a lot of Asians bleach their. Yeah. You see, there we go. Let me go back to this. A lot of Asians bleach their skin. See, that's the thing. And we're not even talking about, like, I'm not saying anything specific. All I know is you can see the nation of people that are doing certain things, and I'm going to show you guys some videos, and it's like it's always them. You know what I'm saying? For the majority of the part right now in our society, it seems to be them. You can't. I don't even have to point the finger. I can just show you some videos, which I'm going to do. So it says the sounds of their fall. At the sound of their fall, the earth shall tremble. At the sound of their fall, the earth shall tremble. Now, keep in mind that Babylon, right, the last kingdom, says that when they fall, the earth is going to tremble. Because why? Because the currency, the money, right? They ain't going to be able to trade with them no more. They're going to be like, oh shit, it's over. The sound of their cry shall be heard at the Red Sea. Look, he shall mount up and swoop down like an eagle and spread his wings against Bozrah, and the heart of the warriors of Edom that day shall be like the heart of a woman in labor. So fucking scared, basically. Let's go to verse 9. Verse 8. For I will bring calamity upon Esau, calamity of Esau upon him, the time when I punished him. Now it says, if grape gatherers came to you, would they not leave gleanings? So, for example, you know, if you're hungry and you pass by a vineyard, are you going to take everything that the vineyard has? Nah, man. As a courtesy, you're going to take a few, bro. And then you move on. But no, Esau don't do that shit. They take and take and take. But as for me, it says, if thieves came by night, even they would pillage only what they wanted. You see that? But see, Esau don't work that way. Y'all take and take. It's like that video, that cartoon, where before the Martian shows up, where this guy's just walking the earth, right? And he's just like consuming shit and killing shit, consuming shit and killing shit, consuming shit and killing shit, and making things out of things. You know, like he kills a bear and he makes a sweater, and kills a lion and he makes something or some shit. Like it's a trippy ass cartoon. And then at the end, the alien kills him. Just consuming. Then it says, but as for me, I have stripped Esau bare. I have uncovered his hidden places, and he is not able to conceal himself. Then it says, his offspring are destroyed, his kinfolk and his neighbors, and he is no more. Now, why did I read that? His offspring are destroyed. Listen to this. It's not me. It's them.
More white people died than were born in 2016. Data shows in 26 states, whites are dying faster than they're being born. Between 1999 and 2016, the number of white births fell by 10.8%. That stands at just over 2 million. Researchers suggest the reasons for this decrease are the Great Recession, a drop in fertility rates because people can't afford to have children, and a rise in mortality rates as most of the white population is aging and dying of natural causes while others are dying from drug overdoses. A demographer at the University of Texas at San Antonio and a co-author of the report says it seems that white people going under the 50% of the population mark might be happening a few years earlier than projected. Some of the states most affected by this shift are Oregon, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Florida, North and South Carolina, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Michigan. Researchers are predicting by the year 2045, whites could drop well below 50% of the population. While the white population is decreasing, the census says minority populations are steadily rising.
And you wonder that a lot of the chaos are the states that have been named. If you think about the hatred towards our people, or just towards people of color at this point, because you fucking see it now, man. You have people that I mean, just because you look a little brown, bro, they're pulling you over. And I used to see that shit in movies. I never thought that it would be to this point. Never did it occur to me that it would be to this point. And, you know, we're constantly seeing this. Like, for example, this guy was a right winger. And then now he's like, bro, I didn't realize that the shit was really that bad. I think it says it right around here. Let me see. Hold on. Is it here? Let me just kind of say it initially, and then I'll skip it.
The left and the right is a ridiculous notion. I mean, I was a Republican for so long. I voted for Trump, but then
you want to see what real independent journal?
We don't care. We don't care anymore. You know what I mean? The left and the right is a ridiculous notion and stuff like that. And unfortunately, if you vote left and then you go right, you know what I mean? All it does is causes strife in between people that are probably in the middle, that just want everybody to have an equal opportunity to live here. You know what I mean? And that's what you see right now and stuff like that. Because all those people in there, despite whether they say illegal, but the only thing they did was they didn't really follow the previous administration's right to come over through the border, but the previous administration said it was okay for you to come over to the border.
So, and the reason I'm mentioning this is because the chaos that they're causing towards people that have been impeached. Like, for example, they said literally, we're going to go after the criminals, right? Okay. All right, fine. I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. As much as I hate to see, sometimes people make mistakes, and I know that. But you know what I mean? If that's the way it is, and fuck it, that's the way it is. But you're talking about people that have never broken anything, no law other than your imaginary criminal law, because technically the understanding of you coming to this country without any paperwork, you know, it was like a civil issue, right? Not a criminal issue. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. But they took it to the extremisms. Now, the reason, where's he at? ISIS, right? ISIS, whatever. The reason why I was wondering why you laughed was because, yeah, it is happening, man. And, like, this is earlier recorded, right? This is earlier recorded. But what I'm afraid of, man, is the fact that it looks like a coup, bro. It looks like a solid coup. What better way to implement one? Look, check it out. This has been so common. We'll let it play. You're gonna see that. I mean, this is not Gen Z, bro. These are fucking old people. These are old people too. It's not just young people. So something. Okay, I understand they killed that man. But you gotta also know that guy, he was like fucking trying to put he knew what he was getting into, man. What do you mean? What do you talk? People are like, oh no, they shouldn't have killed. Bro, he understood that if he went after the cartel, they were going to go after him. He understood that. Now all of a sudden, supposedly it's the government's fault. You get what I mean? So this chaos is not organic, man. This is a coup. Why? You see what's going on in Venezuela? You see what's going on in Colombia? Mexico is not that far from that distance. When the Colombian president said the statement about there's this history says that when the golden eagle attacks the condor, then will the great jaguar wake up. Now, if you guys actually understand, North and South history, the condor is from, like, say, for the particular areas of Peru, the Incas. And the jaguar is very well known to be a predominantly Aztec, quote unquote, right? Powerful image. It's basically like a Mexican thing. Like the jaguar is like a Mexican, like, I don't. excuse me, like basically what Aztecs, so-called Aztecs, would consider. So I don't see this far-fetched. I see this as a coup, because guess what? It happened almost 100 years ago, man. Just check it out. This is, and you're right, order out of chaos, man. I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna fucking show you why. And look, and this is a great statement. I'm gonna show you two things in this video. Great fucking statement that el presidente Pedro de Colombia dijo. You gotta pay attention to like what's going on, family. Like, don't go by the assumptions of fucking media. They've been lying to us for so long. You know that already. That's why I love to read history, and I do like to pay attention to things, because as I'm reading history, it's like it's repeating itself, man.
Construyen campos de concentración para migrantes y aplauden las mayorías electorales y dicen que son de una raza inferior los migrantes y colectivizan culpas en ellos como hicieron con los judíos y los llaman terroristas e inferiores y ladrones, narcotraficantes todos, dicen. Cuando la mayoría de los narcotraficantes son rubios y de ojos azules y guardan sus enormes fortunas en los bancos más grandes del mundo y no viven en Bogotá, ni en Caracas, ni en el Caribe, ni en Gaza, sino que viven en Miami, son vecinos del presidente de los Estados Unidos y viven en Nueva York y en París y Madrid y en Dubái. Viven donde hay lujo, no pobreza. Pero los misiles los tiran donde hay pobreza y no donde hay lujo.
That's true. They aim and shoot where the poor are, not where the rich are. Now I'm gonna do it this way, in case I don't want to get blocked on it. Hey, what up, sis? Good to have you here. So check it out. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna try to do it this way, okay? Because I know that if I show you this video straight, they'll block it. Okay. So I know that for a fact. So you'll see me kind of jump back and forth every 30 seconds. Okay. But I think this really matters, man. I think you should know this. Okay. Check this out. Let's see.
There's a weapon that powerful countries use to get rid of leaders they don't like, leaders from other countries. It's called a coup. It's a French word that means a punch or a blow, because it kind of means coming in and forcibly punching out a government from power. No elections, no process, just power being seized. Just someone being pushed out and someone being put in. Coups happen in so many different ways, but I want to show you how the coup has been used by the United States of America as a tool to get what they want on the world stage. So let me walk you through some of the major US-led coups over the years to show you that while it sometimes seems like we live in a world full of order and rules, the reality is that the most powerful countries will often get their way by whatever means necessary.
Whatever means necessary. We read earlier in Enoch, the woe and destruction to you that builded upon iniquity. Now, do you guys understand what a coup is? I'm going to show 30 seconds of this, and we're going to go back to the video, okay?
We economic hitmen really have been the ones responsible for creating this first truly global empire. And we work many different ways. But perhaps the most common is that we will identify a country that has resources our corporations covet, like oil, and then arrange a huge loan to that country from the World Bank or one of its sister organizations. But the money never actually goes to the country. Instead, it goes to our big corporations to build infrastructure projects in that country, power plants, industrial parks, ports, things that benefit a few rich people in that country, in addition to our corporations.
See that? So there goes the tool. So we're going to see the overview, and then we're going to see the actual tool. So every 30 seconds, every minute to 30 seconds. I'm going to run a minute here and then 30 seconds over there. Okay, let's go.
Okay, so here's how I'm defining the US-led coups that I'm going to put on our list here. Number one, they were successful. There's a lot of failed coup attempts. We're leaving those out. Number two, there must be at least one US government official involved in the coup. And number three, we need concrete evidence that the US was actually involved, not just speculation. While the US has been involved in tons of regime change efforts around the world, we landed on a much shorter list. These are the coups that I think best exemplify how this tool has been used for international power.
See, right here, he shows
over the years. These are the coups that I think best exemplify how this tool has been used for
Iran. Okay, I want you to pay attention to that real quick. We got about 20 more seconds.
International power over the years. Let's start here.
This part, okay? Then I'm gonna play this one here. Okay? So check this out.
Oh, and NordVPN just turned 11 years old, and so let's get has to do with into the map. I got to get out of here because things are about to heat up. We got a lot more to cover on these coups. The next coup has to do with Spain. Well, actually more like Spain's colonies.
Okay, so we're looking at the Philippines, Spanish Empire, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Filipino, okay? And then we obviously went over, we kind of, unfortunate because of time, we walked over the history with Hawaii, all right? So pay attention. Because of what? Natural resources and strategical locations. We just heard a video earlier speaking about that, correct? All right, let's hear it again.
But really don't help the majority of the people at all. However, those people, the whole country is left holding a huge debt. And such a big debt they can't repay it, and that's part of the plan, that they can't repay it. And so at some point, we economic hitmen go back to them and say, listen, you owe us a lot of money, can't pay your debt, so sell your oil, real cheap to our oil companies. Allow us to build a military base in your country, or send troops in support of ours to someplace in the world like Iraq, or vote with us on the next UN vote, to have their electric utility company privatized and their water and sewage system privatized and sold to U.S. corporations or other multinational corporations. So there's that whole mushrooming thing, and it's so typical of the way the IMF and the World Bank work, that you put a country in debt, it's such a big debt it can't pay it, and then you have to refinance that debt and pay even more interest. And
destabilization. Boom. You got it, sis. Hold on.
Gotcha, bitch.
Straight up. And here we're getting a better picture of it. Do you see what I'm saying? Natural resources, strategic locations. So they go in there. Now, this is an overall picture as to who they cooed, but we're getting a detailed, specific understanding of who it was, these jackals, and how they did it, and where. Let's go.
Spain's glory days have come and gone. They are a declining empire, and there is major resistance in their colonies, especially in Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. Meanwhile, the US is a rising empire, and they already are pretty uncomfortable with Spain having colonies like 100 miles off their coast. But at the same time, they don't love the idea of true independence for places like Cuba or Puerto Rico. These are strategic islands right in the US's neighborhood. And like Hawaii, American companies have money invested, particularly in Cuba. Independence might mean them getting kicked out. So the US delves into this fight between Spain and their colonies. They use the explosion of an American Navy ship as their excuse, even though it was likely an accident, not an attack. But sometimes stories matter more than truth. So the US sends in troops to liberate the rebels fighting against their Spanish colonizers.
See that? So now we just saw something earlier regarding Mexico, right? Let's finish this off.
you demand this quid pro quo, which you call a conditionality or good governance, which means basically that they've got to sell off their resources, including many of their social services, their utility companies, their school systems, sometimes their penal systems, their insurance systems, to foreign corporations.
See, so they go into Puerto Rico, Cuba, and all that. Hey, listen, man, we're going to liberate you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Right? And then to find out, like, no, that didn't happen. No, on the contramon fue.
promising them independence, not only in Cuba and Puerto Rico, but later over here in the Philippines and Guam. These local uprisings eventually drive out the Spanish. And in all of these cases, the US reneges on their promise to give independence to these locals, and they figure out ways to govern Cuba and Puerto Rico indirectly themselves. The US has just piggybacked off several independence movements to enact several coups at once, allowing them to install pro-American leaders and a navy base in Cuba, and eventually annexing Puerto Rico and Guam, which they still control, and the Philippines, which they held for 48 years. Again, I made a whole video about this one too if you want to go deeper. Anyway, we gotta move a little quicker here because we're not gonna get through all these coups. Let's move on. Okay, so we're over here in Nicaragua.
Nicaragua, okay? So now, let me take you to, and again, we're gonna go forward and back, hold on. Forward and back on this, okay?
The president. And in Ecuador for many.
His left is Nicholas
Nope.
Ecuador from. And in the president.
Oh, did I skip it? I think I skipped it.
The precedent for economic hitmen.
Okay, so let me show you.
Economic hitmen.
Let me show you.
The precedent for economic.
Matter of fact, let me let it play because I thought I had the Nicaragua in there.
It's 1909. There's a bunch of powerful American companies here, but a new president comes to power vowing to regulate them. The US is not going to let this happen. So the Secretary of State starts spreading rumors to smear this guy, this president, saying that he's building a canal that would compete with the Panama Canal. But really, they're just upset because Nicaragua is taking loans from Europe. The US keeps painting this guy as a war criminal and someone worthy of being thrown out.
You see that? Earlier we heard a guy say that, you know, they offer loans and stuff, and through the loans they manipulate you and blah, 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 correct? Well, now the US is mad because, no, we're supposed to be the manipulators, not these fuckers. Y'all are evil, man. This is crazy. This is crazy, man. It's just, you can just see it clearly what you guys are doing.
So push comes to shove, and the US sends ships to both of Nicaragua's coasts. They assemble a bunch of Marines in Panama, basically just flexing on Nicaragua and telling the president to step down. And
doing to Maduro today. They're doing the same thing to Maduro in Venezuela, right? They have, but it's Russia this time. And they're over there, you know, in Venezuela and Colombia, flexing their muscles, shooting boats, saying, yo, I'm the superpower.
The benefit of being a rising...
Remember, this is in the early, this is 100 years ago, practically, where they're beginning to gain power. So now they're doing it again because they're beginning to lose it. There you go, right there. Hold on. Thank you, sis. We're on the same mindset right now.
Gotcha, bitch. Superpower is that it worked. He has no choice but to step down. And soon, a leader that the US likes comes to power. The coup is complete, and really, this is the first of many instances of the US meddling in Nicaragua. A few years later, the US is back in the region for another coup in next-door Honduras. This one was plotted by a band of private American citizens, and it follows a...
You see that right there? And I think this one does have Honduras. Hold on.
And in Ecuador for many...
No, it doesn't have it. But let me show you. But let me show you this. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds of this because this is important.
And really began back in the early 50s when democratically elected Mossadegh, who was elected in Iran, he was considered to be the hope for democracy in the Middle East and around the world. He was Time Magazine's Man of the Year. But one of the things that he'd run on and began to implement was the idea that foreign oil companies needed to pay the Iranian people a lot more for the oil that they were taking out of Iran. The Iranian people should benefit from their own oil. Strange policy. We didn't like that, of course.
Like that, of course. So what do? They do a
similar pattern.
A similar pattern. Economic.
Next door, Honduras.
Economic control, natural resources. Next one's Honduras.
This one was plotted by a band of private American citizens, and it follows a similar pattern. A new president comes to town, in this case directly inspired by Nicaragua's president, and he wants to take back control of the country from American businesses. In this case, we're talking about bananas. The banana companies were not going to let this happen. And it was mostly this guy, a banana businessman named Sam the Banana Man. He's not going to let this pesky president run his country. No. So he assembles his own militia. He literally buys a surplus Navy ship, loads it up with weapons, and starts his campaign to get this president out. He sails from New Orleans to the coast of Honduras, and he literally invades the country with like a private army. Wait, what?
This shit.
where's the U.S. government in all this?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Where the fuck are these guys at?
Also didn't like the political direction of Honduras either, so they just sort of stood back, let this private invasion happen, and then at the critical moment, the U.S. steps in to order a ceasefire, basically bullying the president to step down. He had no way forward, no defense, so he resigns. And the banana...
Oh, for what? For profit and resource. That's really it.
Man's leader of choice takes the presidency, giving the banana businessman land and a unique status to import anything he needs tax-free. And, wait for it, he refunds him for all of the coup expenses using public Honduran money.
That's exactly what that other lady is planning on doing if they get rid of Maduro. She's saying she's going to sell the oil to private institutions. This is nothing new.
But we were afraid to do what we normally were doing, which was to send in the military. Instead, we sent in one CIA agent, Kermit Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt's relative. And Kermit went in with a few $1 million and was very, very effective and efficient. And in a short amount of time, he managed to get Mossadegh overthrown and brought in the Shah of Iran to replace him, who always was favorable to oil. And it was extremely effective.
Bombs overflow Tehran. Army officers shout that Mossadegh has surrendered and his regime as virtual dictator of Iran is ended. Pictures of the Shah are paraded through the streets as sentiment reverses. The Shah is welcome home.
So back here in the United States, in Washington, people looked around and said, wow, that was easy and cheap. So this established a whole new way of manipulating countries, of creating empire. The only problem with Roosevelt was that he was a card-carrying CIA agent, and if he'd been caught, the ramifications could have been pretty serious. So very quickly at that point, the decision was made to use private consultants to channel the money through the World Bank or the IMF or one of the other such agencies, to bring in people like me who worked for private companies. So that
basically, based on that report, they're involved. I'm telling you, man. Like, this is why other countries are sick of this shit, and they're like, "Fuck you! I'm going to BRICS." Y'all are the devils. It's like, whoa.
Banana Man literally overthrew the government and made Honduras pay for it. Wow. Okay, so let's move forward to the 50s, where the coup becomes a more useful tool in the American toolkit. There's this new US agency dedicated to collecting and analyzing information from all over the world, meaning for spying. They call it the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, and it completely revolutionizes the art of the coup. Oh, and at this point, the US is now a full-blown global superpower, no longer just looking in their own neighborhood, but rather at the whole world map, investing huge resources into fighting their global rival and its communist ideology. So this gets us to Iran, 1953.
Now, that's why I wanted to show you guys this video, because that said that's exactly where it all started. The actual concept of manipulating countries.
when Arbenz became president of Guatemala, the country was very much under the thumbs of the United Fruit Company, the big...
Sorry, it was the one before, right?
The precedent for economic hitmen really began back in the early 50s when...
See, that's what he's saying. It began in the early 50s. So here we're getting a history like where it started in Iran, and we're going to go to Iran.
The precedent for economic hitmen really began back in the early 50s when democratically elected Mossadegh, who was elected in Iran, he was considered to be the hope for democracy in the Middle East and around the world. He was Time Magazine's Man of the Year. But one of the things that he'd run on and began to implement was the idea that foreign oil companies needed to pay the Iranian people a lot more for the oil that they were taking out of Iran. The Iranian people should benefit from their own oil. Strange policy. We didn't like that, of course. We didn't like that, of course.
See, he says we didn't like that, of course. So
where Iran had just elected a new star politician, Mohammad Mossadegh. He rises to power believing that Iran must take back control of its most valuable natural resource, oil, which at the time was completely controlled by a British company called the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. We know it today as BP. Mossadegh is done with this. Let's kick the British out and take back our oil. But like the US, Britain is not happy with Iranians trying to take back their resources. So they warn that if they do this, there will be consequences. So the British catch a quick meeting with the CIA's Middle East guy who was passing through London, and they pitch him on this idea. Let's throw out Mossadegh. The CIA's like, okay, and they kind of sniff communist vibes on Mossadegh with this big desire to nationalize Iran's oil, or at least they tell themselves they do. So the CIA agrees, and they secretly send this guy to Iran. He's the Middle East bureau chief, Kermit Roosevelt. He's like in his 30s. Oh, and yes, he is the grandson of another big coup guy, Teddy Roosevelt, who I have gone into in other videos. Roosevelt sneaks into Iran and is given $1 million taxpayer dollars to use, quote, in any way that would bring about the fall of Mossadegh. So now there's
you see now the pictures are getting better, right? Okay, let's check it out.
But we were afraid to do what we normally were doing, which was to send in the military. Instead, we sent in one CIA agent, Kermit Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt's relative. And Kermit went in with a few $1 million and was very, very effective and efficient. And in a short amount of time, he managed to get Mossadegh overthrown and brought in the Shah of Iran to replace him, who always was favorable to oil. And it was extremely effective.
Bombs overflow Tehran. Army officers shout that Mossadegh has surrendered and his regime as virtual dictator of Iran is ended. Pictures of the Shah are paraded through the streets as sentiment reverses. The Shah is welcome home.
So back here in the United States,
American CIA agents
Picture of it. Okay, let's go.
in Iran, secretly trying to overthrow the government. And it's a rocky start at first with a bunch of failures. But they start using their money to get traction, bribing politicians, religious clerics, and other leaders to say divisive and controversial things about Mossadegh. They hire locals to stage attacks against religious leaders, making it look like they had been ordered to do so by Mossadegh. But really, they were just getting paid by the CIA to do this. And with enough time and money, they create an atmosphere of chaos and hostility and distrust among the public. Oh, and there's weapons. The CIA stashes enough weapons and explosives to support a, quote,
This is why when I saw this over there, I was like, bro, this is too to take 3 countries down at once: Mexico, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, and Colombia. I think that's my take on it. How we get an idea of how and what we're surrounded by. Okay. A systematic approach on how to dethrone and manipulate. So we got that for the most part. Correct? Okay. Now we're going to get into the other videos that I wanted to show y'all. And this is heartfelt, man, because this is happening to our gente, and this is why I do what I do.
Hola, buenas tardes. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Mi nombre es José Antonio Vargas. Soy de León, Guanajuato. Me agarraron en Wisconsin. Nos dieron maltrato. Toda esa gente que esté documentada, por favor, escóndanse, no manténganse en sus casas, porque la verdad es muy feo todo el maltrato que estamos pasando. La verdad, mujeres, niños, no importa, viejitos. De hecho, hasta un viejito se convulsionó y no hicieron nada para ayudarlo. A mí me robaron mi dinero, mi cadena de oro, me robaron mis pertenencias, mis pasaportes, todo me robaron. Y no nomás fui yo, fue mucha gente. La verdad, yo le pido esto a la presidenta, a los que fueron a la aduana, yo les dije, vayan a fijarse cómo nos tienen en realidad como unos perros. O peor que eso, cuando menos a los perros les arriman de agua y comida. A nosotros, nada, nos tuvieron 16 horas en Alejandría, amarrados. A mis amigos les dieron pollo y se lo tenían que comer, amarrados, y un racismo inmenso de parte de las personas morenas, cosa que ellos también sufrieron, el discriminio.
So he said that there was immense racism, bro. Immense racism by specific people, which was basically black folks. He was saying there was immense racism by blacks, even though they went through that shit themselves. It's fucking crazy.
De los americanos, y aún así ellos nos trataron igual. So, por favor, hagan algo. Los que están aquí en Estados Unidos, aunque tengan 25 años, no les preguntan, nomás los deportan. No tienes que firmar, nomás te agarran y pum, te deportan. Igual a los de la calle, a toda la gente. Por favor, yo les digo a los que tengan sus familias, quédense, cuiden a sus hijos, porque la verdad a ellos no les importa si tienen hijos o no tienen hijos.
Otra pregunta, ¿cómo era el tipo de agentes que te detuvieron?
Eran en un Uber, andan en Ubers, andan caminando normal. Es más, no son agentes, son personas cazarrecompensas. Entonces, ellos no están entrenados para hacer el trabajo, y hacen el trabajo lo peor.
Son muy antiprofesionales.
Exactamente, porque no tienen profesionalismo para hacer eso. Tengo yo 25 años viviendo allá y nunca en mi vida había visto cómo nos están tratando, trabajando 25 años aquí en Estados Unidos, y nos tratan como animales. Por favor, eso no es justo.
Claro, ¿y de qué tipo son? Raza mexicana también, ¿verdad?
Oh, claro, y más nuestra raza, algo terrible. Amigos, tiene nuestra sangre.
Yep, I've seen that a lot, man, and I'm glad you brought it up, bro, because like, and it's not new, man. That's why it's like I said earlier, you know, there's there's a word called karma, and in the Hindu thought, and again, and I say that because Hinduism is not just one people, like it's a branch of beliefs, but in the Hindu thought they have this thing called karma. You live it or you die by it. One concept, two concepts like that, right? So what you create, what you do is what you bring. Kind of like you are what you are what you think about type of concept. So if you're evil, you're going to bring evil upon yourself. If you owe something, you're going to pay it back.
Por favor, respeten, más que nada a las mujeres. Eso más les pido porque a las mujeres las tratan igual que a nosotros.
He's like, that's what he says, bro. Why are you guys even treating women that way? Oh, wait, hold on. This is weird shit. So now we have, hold on, let me take care of that. Okay, so now check this out, fam. I want to show this video to you, and I hope they don't block it because I really like it. Let me show this to you. It's in Spanish, so el que no sabe español, pues ahí se aguante, güey. I'm gonna give you guys subtitles, or at least auto-generate to English. Let's see. But there's English ones here. But they speak English and Spanish, so it's like kind of... You know what I'm saying?
Pain medicines are the opioids.
Check it out. It's in Spanish, remember. Keep it in mind, all right? Keep it in mind. Let's see what you got. What he said, why does the word keep taking fuck the devil, Satan, and all are hellbound for all eternity? I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, the devil are typical wannabes. They can never be the Yahushua. Oh. Maybe reframe your statement. I don't know. Well, anyways, let's continue, Pam. Maybe you're new here.
But these are the same drugs that have a reputation for causing addiction.
Mind that the topic initially has always been white narco terrorist. So I wanted to give you a cool concept. I also wanted to read to you like the earlier verses in Jasher and in Enoch regarding how the mind of these people work and why we're here right now with this situation today. They claim that people that look like me are the fucking narcos. They claim that people that look like me, right, automatically are, you know, drug related, gang related, and that we cause this addiction among your peoples. Let's find out who caused this addiction. Let's go back to the source.
Checa esto.
There's no question that our best, strongest pain medicines are the opioids, but these are the same drugs that have a reputation for causing addiction and other terrible things. Now, in fact, the rate of addiction amongst pain patients who are treated by doctors is much less than 1%.
Esta era una campaña publicitaria del Oxycontin, la droga estrella de una de las familias de narcotraficantes más grandes de la historia. Y es que en el discurso se suele culpar a México por la crisis de los opioides que vive Estados Unidos.
I stepped back to say who is responsible, who is the most responsible for the...
It says, like, I just want to look and consider who is responsible. Who is the most responsible for you drug addicted individuals? Who is the most responsible? Okay, think about that statement.
Fentanyl killing Americans, and the answer was the Sinaloa cartel is number one, and the Chapitos are leading the Sinaloa cartel. The three boys are El Chapo's sons, and they pioneered this manufacturing of fentanyl and the transportation and distribution of it that we see today. So they are the leading group that is responsible.
Pero ¿qué pasaría si te digo que uno de los grandes responsables de todo esto es Estados Unidos y no México? Para comprender toda la historia debemos ir punto por punto, conocer nombres, intereses económicos, grandes farmacéuticas, sobornos políticos y todo un mapa que pocas veces se cuenta. El fentanilo es el tema central. Se busca a toda costa que México deje de enviarlo. No es para menos. Tan solo en 2021 se estima que hubo 106,000 muertes por sobredosis, la mayoría por la famosa droga. Pero la llamada crisis de los opioides no comenzó con el fentanilo. Para entender todo, debemos remontarnos a 1995. Te presentamos a la familia Sackler. Son los dueños de Purdue Pharma, la importante farmacéutica que inventó el Oxycontin. Esta simple pastilla es un poderoso opioide altamente adictivo. Fue creado con la intención de aliviar el dolor. En Estados Unidos, cuando una farmacéutica crea un nuevo medicamento, debe pasar por la FDA para probarlo. Ellos son los encargados de revisar y comprobar que lo que se vende sea 100% seguro. En el caso del Oxycontin, había un pequeño detalle. Al igual que la gran mayoría de los opioides, solo debe utilizarse para aliviar el dolor de personas con cáncer, pacientes terminales o personas recién operadas. Purdue sabía esto. Al momento de solicitar la aprobación, buscaron la forma de que su venta no se limitara a un sector reducido. Querían
So just follow and keep in mind that before it used to be for prescription when it was like a chronic diagnosis, a chronic or a critical diagnosis, right? Where it's like critical is you potentially can die. Chronic is where you're just, it's gonna happen. And they're like, no, we need to open the sector to other people. Like, let's broaden it up a bit and kind of sell it to, I don't know, just regular pain. Fuck it, depression. Practically.
Que cualquier paciente pudiera usarlo para así tener mayores ingresos. La única persona que podía hacer eso era Curtis Wright, director interino de la División de Anestesia, Cuidados Críticos y Adicción a Productos farmacéuticos de la FDA. Purdue alegaba que su producto no era adictivo y que incluso era más seguro que otros opioides. Wright en un inicio se mostró escéptico, pero recibió un agresivo acoso por parte de la farmacéutica para convencerlo. Al final cedió y el 28 de diciembre de 1995 la FDA aprobó el medicamento y dio el visto bueno para que en su etiqueta dijera esto. Se cree que la absorción dilatada que proporcionan los comprimidos del Oxycontin reduce la propensión de un posible abuso.
Es la frase que dio paso a la epidemia de los opioides. Fue un error monumental e histórico de la FDA.
Porque gracias a ella, Purdue Pharma tuvo el respaldo del gobierno para que pudieran recetar el Oxycontin a prácticamente cualquier persona. En 1996 comenzó su comercialización con una agresiva campaña publicitaria, como el video del inicio, donde se incentivaba a los doctores a recetar el medicamento para cualquier dolencia. Fue un éxito rotundo. Superaron al medicamento más vendido, el Viagra. En 1999 se estima que vendían $20 millones a la semana. La familia Sackler amasó una inmensa fortuna de aproximadamente $35,000 millones. De acuerdo con Forbes, eran más ricos que los Rockefeller. Un éxito millonario a expensas de una población que por un dolor común se volvía dependiente de un opioide. Crearon a una nación adicta. Para que te des una idea de lo que hicieron, escucha esta frase de madres que perdieron a sus hijos por la droga. La única diferencia entre la heroína y el Oxycontin es que el segundo te lo puede dar un médico. Ellos crearon la fórmula, fueron los narcotraficantes más exitosos de toda la historia, porque vendían su droga con el consentimiento gubernamental y nunca pisaron la cárcel. Al final, cuando se descubrió todo, pagaron una multa ridícula en comparación al gran daño que hicieron y al dinero que generaron. Por si fuera poco, Estados Unidos no aprendió la lección. Cuando hubo más restricción en la venta del Oxycontin, muchas personas que se volvieron adictas voltearon a otras alternativas. Y sí, aquí llega el fentanilo. Al igual que el Oxycontin, el fentanilo es un poderoso opioide altamente adictivo. Tampoco lo debe usar cualquier paciente. Fue creado en 1960 por el doctor belga Paul Janssen con el objetivo de crear un analgésico que suplantara a la morfina. Se buscó que fuera aprobado en Estados Unidos, pero para ello tenía que pasar por la FDA. Robert Dripps, presidente de anestesiología de la Universidad de Pensilvania en Filadelfia, era quien debía dar el visto bueno, pero estaba renuente. Él razonó que un medicamento que era 100 veces más potente que la morfina era innecesario y probablemente crearía más problemas que ventajas. Además, temían que el fentanilo pudiera usarse como una droga de abuso debido a su inicio de acción relativamente rápido. A pesar de sus advertencias, la FDA lo aprobó, pero con la condición de que solo se utilizara con pacientes con cáncer o con una condición terminal. La presión fue mayor porque el laboratorio del Dr. Janssen fue adquirido por la poderosa farmacéutica estadounidense Johnson & Johnson. Este fue el precedente para la creación de nuevos productos con fentanilo, los cuales dieron paso a la primera gran ola de adicción. Este es Subsys, el producto estrella de la farmacéutica Insys. Es un aerosol a base de fentanilo, creado para aliviar el dolor de algunos pacientes con cáncer. Fue aprobado en 2012 por la FDA. Ojo, hace 16 años ya habían aprobado el Oxycontin. Las denuncias contra el medicamento estuvieron desde antes del 2000 y aún así fue aprobado sabiendo que era un opioide altamente adictivo. John Kapoor, el fundador de Insys, quizá inspirado en el éxito millonario de Purdue Pharma, aplicó el mismo método. Su producto solo fue aprobado para pacientes terminales o con cáncer. Sin embargo, encontraron una especie de vacío legal. Si bien la FDA limitaba el uso a este tipo de pacientes, permitían que un doctor usara su propio juicio para determinar si una persona podría requerir Subsys. Ahí estalló todo. Insys sobornó a miles de doctores en Estados Unidos para que recetaran su medicina de manera indiscriminada. ¿Te dolía la espalda? Fentanilo. ¿Te duele la cabeza? Fentanilo. La historia es prácticamente la misma. John Kapoor ascendió de manera meteórica y se posicionó en la lista de los multimillonarios de Forbes. Esto no fue un caso aislado. Fueron varias farmacéuticas las que emplearon el mismo método. Fueron varios medicamentos con fentanilo y otros opioides. Colas enormes en farmacias a muy temprana hora con adictos que buscaban su medicina. Johnson & Johnson era hasta hace poco el principal proveedor de las materias primas para la creación de opioides. No fue el narco mexicano ni empresas chinas. Los que crearon todo esto fueron las grandes farmacéuticas. Después de todo este breve resumen, es importante que sepas dos cosas: cómo funcionan estos medicamentos y cuál fue el papel del gobierno de los Estados Unidos en todo este escándalo. Un opioide es sumamente efectivo como analgésico. Aún hoy día se sigue utilizando en los quirófanos. Sin embargo, las cantidades deben ser muy cuidadas. Además, como lo hemos dicho a lo largo del video, no lo debe tomar cualquier persona. El argumento que usaron las farmacéuticas para defenderse es que su producto hacía el bien y las personas eran las que abusaban. Cuando consumes una droga adictiva, existe un momento en el que si la dejas de tomar, tu cuerpo presenta abstinencia. De inmediato pide más. Además, mientras más frecuente es tu consumo, necesitas más cantidades para satisfacer esa necesidad. Por eso se volvieron millonarias las farmacéuticas, porque cuando esto pasaba, recetaban más medicamentos y creaban dosis más grandes. La gente la consumía porque ya la necesitaba. Y cuando el tratamiento terminaba, el dolor pasaba, pero la adicción se quedaba. Muchos pacientes tuvieron que acudir a otras drogas para satisfacer esa necesidad. Sumado a esto, había personas que consumían la medicina por uso recreativo. Acudían con doctores solo para obtener prescripciones de opioides. Un completo desastre. La FDA debió exigir pruebas contundentes de que los productos eran seguros. No lo hicieron. Por si fuera poco, altos funcionarios fueron sobornados. Curtis Wright, el médico que le dio luz verde al Oxycontin, tiempo después fue contratado por Purdue Pharma. El primer año recibió una retribución de $400,000. No fue el único. Cuando las denuncias empezaron a estallar contra el Oxycontin, Purdue Pharma contrató a Chris Dodd, senador de Estados Unidos, para defenderlos. Frente al Senado, abogó por la farmacéutica y por la droga, echándole la culpa a la población por ser unos adictos. La desconfianza hacia el medicamento se esfumaba por los dichos y la calidad moral de Dodd. Las ventas siguieron subiendo. Con el fentanilo sucedió algo similar. Cuando ya se tenía identificado el problema de los opioides, se cuestionó la facilidad con la que los narcóticos inundaban indiscriminadamente las farmacéuticas. Ellos se defendieron impulsando una ley que limitaba las facultades de la DEA para que así no pudieran identificar estos abusos y por ende siguieran reabasteciendo indiscriminadamente. En el Congreso todos aprobaron esta ley, nadie estuvo en contra. Es más, hubo senadores que la defendieron, como Tom Marino y Marsha Blackburn, ambos senadores republicanos. Marsha aún es senadora. Tras la aprobación de la ley, recibió $964,000 por parte de las farmacéuticas. No fue la única. Varios senadores recibieron jugosas compensaciones de las farmacéuticas por aprobar esta ley que las beneficiaba. En el mismo Senado donde ahora atacan a México y lo señalan como el responsable directo de la crisis de los opioides, años antes tuvieron oportunidades reales para frenarla. Es más, la FDA ya aprobó un nuevo opioide que es 10 veces más potente que el fentanilo. Es de locos. Al final, Estados Unidos
They just approved, like shit.
tuvieron oportunidades
Listen to this. There's one out now that's much more powerful than fentanyl.
reales para frenarla. Es más, la FDA ya aprobó un nuevo
Yes, it's called Desubia. I mean, is this real? Desubia. Desubia drug is a potent opioid medication used for managing severe acute pain in medically supervised settings, but it carries significant risk of addiction, respiratory depression, and misuse. Wow. The Subia is a brand name for sufentanil, a synthetic opioid that is approximately 5 to 10 times more potent than fentanyl. Shoot, she's not lying. Check this out. A synthetic opioid that is approximately 5 to 10 times more potent than fentanyl and 500 times to 1,000 times more potent than morphine. It is designed as a sublingual tablet that dissolves in your tongue, providing rapid pain relief for patients in acute pain situations, particularly in hospital or emergency settings. Wow. Do you think that this won't get out of hand in someone else's hands? Really? Damn.
Nuevo opioide que es 10 veces más potente que el fentanilo. Es de locos. Al final, Estados Unidos puede intentar acabar con el narco en México, nombrándolos como grupos terroristas, detener cada gramo de fentanilo para que no entre a su país. Pero eso no detendría la crisis de los opioides, porque gran parte del problema lo tienen en casa. Por si fuera poco, la responsabilidad de Estados Unidos por la crisis que viven y la violencia que existe en México por el narcotráfico no termina aquí. Hace unos días se volvió viral esta foto. Es un integrante del cártel del Golfo. Lo que lleva es un lanzacohetes exclusivo para el ejército estadounidense. Incluso es de los que envían a Ucrania. ¿Por qué el narcotráfico en México está tan bien armado? En 2021, el gobierno de México comenzó una batalla legal contra 11 gigantes de la industria armamentística en Estados Unidos. El tema es muy delicado y necesita su propio video.
So yeah, they got that going on. So now let me take you through a couple of videos because, you know, some of these people got caught. So now here, the president that they're over here complaining about, she had said this before, and I just want to play it. I'm going to take you through a few segments of short videos. Let's go.
A cualquier extranjero que realice actividades al margen de la ley, se le impondrá la pena más severa posible, así como la medida cautelar de prisión preventiva oficiosa. A cualquier extranjero.
Al Ejército, Marina y Guardia Nacional se logró combatir y detener. Caen 2 narcotraficantes estadounidenses en Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco. La narrativa del presidente de los Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, cada vez se está debilitando más al asegurar que solamente los mexicanos son los que aseguran drogas sintéticas y fentanilo que traspasan a los Estados Unidos. Pues no, gracias al Ejército, Marina y Guardia Nacional se logró combatir y detener a 2 objetivos prioritarios del propio gobierno de los Estados Unidos. Han caído Aaron Wilkie Murphy, de 51 años de edad, y Hong Tua Thi, de 49 años. Ambos personajes estaban altamente relacionados con la distribución de fentanilo que llegaba a los Estados Unidos. Y no eran mexicanos como tanto presumen los republicanos. Ambos provenían directamente de los Estados Unidos. El gobierno mexicano ya los está extraditando hacia su país de origen y es otra estrellita bajo el mando de Omar García Harfuch, secretario de Seguridad Pública. Insistimos, si quieren acabar con el problema del narco, que primero acaben con aquellos que distribuyen la droga allá.
Yeah, but you'll hear nothing about that here. Zero about that, or this too.
¿Será que el presidente Trump vaya a considerar terrorista a este ciudadano estadounidense, este compatriota connacional paisano suyo? Les presento a Scott Harvey Daniel Lee Thompson. Este es un ciudadano de origen estadounidense que intentó ingresar a territorio mexicano con 3 armas largas, 2 armas cortas, 19 cargadores y 2.095 cartuchos útiles de diferentes calibres, 3.000 miras telescópicas para armas y un jodido telescopio. La detención se llevó a cabo en el Puente Internacional El Chaparral en Tijuana, Baja California, por los elementos de la Secretaría de la Defensa Nacional y la Guardia Nacional. Así que más que sea otra estrellita para Omar García Harfuch, demostrar que el tráfico de armas proviene directamente de los Estados Unidos, de ese país que se queja de lo que él mismo está ocasionando.
And that's why I'm going through these segments like that, because I think it's a powerful message. This kid is pretty smart, man. I follow him I listen to him every now and then, and very informative, very involved in politics, and he did a report on the trafficking. I didn't want to show that long ass video, so I figured I'd show some of these pieces that he's mentioning. Three people, 3 individual cases. Let's go.
Pero los narcos gringos no existen. Les presento a Gabriel Seth Rogers. Miren nada más cuánto colágeno, cuánta juventud, cuánto futuro. Es un joven estadounidense y seguramente tendrá una vida bastante próspera. Pues no, es buscado por las autoridades de Wyoming en Estados Unidos por asociación delictuosa y por narcotráfico. Y adivinen qué. Fue arrestado en México, concretamente en Culiacán, Sinaloa, por elementos de la Guardia Nacional, por elementos de la Secretaría de Seguridad Pública y desde luego por las Fuerzas Armadas. Otro narco gringo que cae en territorio mexicano, y solamente le digo al señor Trump que el problema lo tienen del lado del río Bravo, pero al norte. Basta con la producción, pero sobre todo también con la distribución de drogas. Por lo pronto, otra estrellita para Omar García Harfuch y el combate al narcotráfico.
We see that, but you never hear about these things being mentioned, man. Ever.
Last week, a police officer.
Ever. Check this out. And again, this is why I'm saying. This is why I said this. White narco terrorist. This is it right there. Look, prime example.
In Marysville, California, was killed during a drug raid. The headlines: Hero cop dies in shootout. Cartel drug raid ends in bloodshed. Police officer killed in shootout during transnational drug ring takedown. And the shooter? It was Rick David Oliver, a 60-year-old white man. Not Mexican, not cartel, just a white man with a long criminal history, including being a registered sex offender. But there's more. Listen to this press conference by the Yuba County DA, Clint Curry.
Important to note about this multi-year operation that the targets, the suspects, the central suspects in this operation were part of transnational drug trafficking organizations that were moving amphetamine and deadly fentanyl across the border from Mexico into our state. It was harming our communities and our children.
Sounds scary and cartel related, right? Well, here's the full list of people arrested in that same drug bust that day. Pause to see the full list. Sarah Ballard, Kelly Blake, Lisa Nichols, Todd Nichols. These people are from Yuba City, Oroville. Not scary.
Those don't look like Hispanic, so-called Hispanic last names, do they? Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Here, this simple article: Mexico demands investigation into U.S. military-grade weapons being used by drug cartel. Look, man, the unfortunate thing about this society is the way that you guys raise your kids. And those are facts. I'm a father. I'm a father of 4. And I have experience, and I can say that. It's the way you raise your kids. And this society, predominantly influenced by Esau and their customs, you guys suck. You guys fucking suck as parents. You rush them to get out of your house. Look, I'm not here to criticize how the fuck you guys raise your kids. Nobody can change it. It's just the way that your spirit moves. And you end up raising weirdos and shit. Weirdos that say weird shit or that live weird shit. And look at this, man. Seriously. Really, man? Really? Come on, bro. Really? It's not us. It's not our people. It's not people that look like us that give you the drugs. This is in your nature. Something hollow is in your seed.
So we're here making a documentary about ketamine, actually. Do you know anything about it?
You have a lot of things that I've got.
Anyway, thanks very much. Documentary done.
Ketamine has become the generation-defining drug for young Brits. Use has risen 30% year on year, mainly driven by 16 to 24-year-olds.
This is European shit. That's who you guys are. This is in your nature. This is what you do.
It's no longer an underground choice. This strange, powerful drug is as mainstream as Coke or E.
It's kind of become a staple of our generation, especially in the UK.
You can sell hundreds of grams in a week. There's a whole ketamine culture in the UK.
And you know, it's funny because their big popular fucking smart, so-called smart guy, he's like on ketamine 24/7, isn't he? Like, I guess they were complaining about him because Elon Musk, right? The Oval Office, because he was like, his eyes were swirling everywhere and shit.
Doble moral viene en presentación de polvo o pastillas. En los últimos 60 años han muerto en los Estados Unidos más jóvenes por fentanilo que las muertes ocasionadas por esa misma nación en las guerras del Medio Oriente. Ese veneno letal lo reparten ellos mismos en su territorio.
You see what he's like? He's like, yo, you guys distribute that shit in your own territory. Fíjate lo que dice para que vean, güey. Fentanyl wood, la hipocresía yankee. Es lo que quieren decir. The Yankee hypocrisy. Y'all complain about people selling you drugs, but you're fucking using them. Like, nobody forces you guys to do this shit.
Como ocurre con las armas, el problema no es la pistola, sino quién la dispara, así con el fentanilo, un medicamento que usaron durante décadas. En los Estados Unidos lo sacaron hasta de los botiquines. Ahora se quieren enjuagar la cara.
El fentanilo es uno de los opioides más poderosos que existen para tratar el dolor. Es 100 veces más fuerte que la morfina y 50 más que la heroína. Pero así como las armas no son el problema, sino quién y por qué las dispara. Hablando del fentanilo, el problema no es el medicamento, tampoco su potencia.
Es algo que hemos usado por muchas décadas, realmente sin muchos problemas. Porque aunque es muy potente, aunque es muy fuerte, pues usamos cantidades menores y lo podemos usar como médicos en el hospital de una forma muy segura.
Tan solo el año pasado, los cuerpos de emergencia en los Estados Unidos atendieron más de 400,000 sobredosis de drogas. Casi el 20% de ellas, alrededor de 70,000, se tradujeron en muertes por fentanilo.
El problema actual es...
A lot of it does have to do, family, with, you know, the way things are supposed to be. Scripturally speaking, that's what it talks about. People are going to drink the cup. You know, some people don't like that shit. Some people think that's too hard. And if I'm not mistaken, this society of scientists, because this is what a lot of people believe in, scientists, right? And that means that you would have to embrace the concept of Darwinism, because Darwinism is a, you know, part of science. And you guys even speak of this in eugenics. You know, you claim to be the superior race, right? And you use eugenics because eugenics is Darwinism concepts like, you know, survival of the fittest. Well, this is part of that. I think, at least from what I see. If you say Darwinism, you believe in eugenics, well then life is selecting.
More white people died than were born in 2016. Data shows in 26 states, whites are dying faster than they're being born. Between 1999 and 2016, the number of white births fell by 10.8%. That stands at just over 2 million. Researchers suggest the reasons for this decrease are the Great Recession, a drop in fertility rates because people can't afford to have children, and a rise in mortality rates as most of the white population is aging and dying of natural causes while others are dying from drug overdoses. A demographer at the University of Texas at San Antonio and a co-author of the report says it seems that white people going under the 50% of the population mark might be happening a few years earlier than projected. Some of the states most affected by this shift are Oregon, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Florida, North and South Carolina, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Michigan. Researchers are predicting by the year 2045, whites could drop well below 50% of the population. While the white population is decreasing, the census says minority populations are steadily rising.
Es que fentanilo ilícito, o sea, fentanilo producido en laboratorios clandestinos, se ha estado produciendo y diseminando.
Eso indica que más del 80% de los casos atendidos en la Unión Americana estuvo relacionado con otro tipo de estupefacientes. Muchos de ellos tomados del propio botiquín de las casas estadounidenses, por menores de edad que se vuelven adictos cuando ni siquiera han terminado la primaria.
Los adolescentes no experimentan tanto con heroína o polvos o cosas que se ven así como que más, que pueden dar como más miedo, ¿no? Pero sí sabemos que por muchos años han estado experimentando los.
Look, listen, I have well, my oldest son, he's autistic, so, you know, obviously it's a different situation. But I have a 22-year-old daughter, I have a 13-year-old son, and then I have a 4-year-old going on 5. I don't have any issues with my 13-year-old son. Nothing regarding this situation. My daughter especially not. And again, it all has to do with the parenting. Hate to fucking say it. It's very simple. You know, we're not interested in raising children to get rid of them. Like, that's not how we raise our children. We raise you to turn 18 and get the fuck out of the house. That's the Anglo-Saxon way. That's Esau's way. Like, that's how you guys move. And this is what you created. And apparently you fed other nations to raise their kids that way because other nations do that shit in this country. You guys, you know, your kids turn 18, you want to move them the fuck out. Send them to college. Oh, they're football players, basketball players. Oh, they're students now. And then you send them far. You send them far away from your house. What the fuck did you expect? Do you think you're 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, after you've been like living 40, 50 years, when you reflect and think back, did you know shit when you were 18, 19, and 20? Fuck no, you didn't know shit, man. None of us did, bro. 18, 19, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, we didn't know shit. You put us out there in the world and no real connection with our parents or like our siblings. This is what occurs. You got to fill that emptiness. Because when you have no connection with your family, this is exactly what happens. Addiction occurs.
Adolescentes con pastillas.
I can speak of it because y'all know my story, man. I don't got to repeat it.
A veces como pastillas robadas, a lo mejor de sus papás o algo así.
A las adicciones tempranas que muchas veces inician en casa hay que sumarle la facilidad de acceso a las drogas. Ese es uno de los factores que incrementan su consumo principalmente.
Hey, hold on a second. What are you saying, bro? Because you keep posting some shit. Are you afraid of hell forever and ever, eternity? Show me in scripture where color think out ignorance. Pride they're gonna be ever see heaven. All right, well, I understood the first one until you went scripture where color think out ignorance. Where color thinks out ignorance and pride? Is that what you mean? Is that what you're saying? So you want a scripture that says that color has anything to do to what? To cleanse yourself? Is that what you're saying? Because none of the stuff that you're fucking been saying are making any sense to me. I don't know who you're talking. I don't know if you're trying to communicate some type of fucking language and shit, because none of this shit makes sense. Nothing that you've typed makes sense. Maybe this probably did at some point. You know what I mean? And I didn't really want to pay attention to your ass, but now I'm wondering, like, what the fuck? Are you watching the show and shit? Are you watching the session or what? Some people call it a show. I don't give a shit. Some people call it a class. Well, today's not really a class. Just wanted to show people this angle. But like, you're not making any sense, Joseph, Anthony.
Entre jóvenes. Porque ahora ya no hay que salir a buscarlas en la calle. Basta con tomar el teléfono celular.
This is a 16-year-old cheerleader who hurts her back at cheer. cheerleading practice and gets a pill from a friend of hers.
Yo, listen, I don't understand exactly what it is that you're doing, bro. Like, what the fuck is this right here? Time ain't on like what? Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 26. No, Genesis 1, verse 26. Like, dude, I think you're on ketamine, bro. Because, like, I really wasn't trying to pay attention to your ass, but, like none of this makes sense. And then you come and say clown and then fucking hypocrite. Bitch, please, you don't know me. Look at your profile, bro. That says everything about you. Esau, shut the fuck up. Watch the fucking class or session or fucking skedaddle. This ain't for you. I mean, if it is for you, I'm glad because I read about Esau. Maybe that's what it is. When I say Esau, dogs bark.
That she got off of TikTok.
El problema del fentanilo, su consumo ilegal y el tráfico que ocurre todos los días con complicidad de las autoridades fronterizas estadounidenses. Solo es la punta de un inmenso iceberg que nuestros vecinos del norte se niegan a ver. Podrían atender las causas por las que los niños comienzan a drogarse en su país con medicamentos encontrados en casa.
At 10, 11, 12 years old, your kids are getting medicated. At 10, 11, 12 years old, your kids are finding reasons to get fucking high. At 10, 11 years old. Because by the time they're 14, 15, 16, all of a sudden they're high-strung and shit in the streets. Or in jail to make it fucking worse.
Tratarlos de
and then they get raped to make it even worse.
Inmediato contra su adicción. También reforzar las medidas de seguridad para impedir la corrupción en la frontera. Pero a cambio planean consentir la venta sin receta de un antídoto que en segundos revierte los efectos de una sobredosis. Una medida para salvar vidas. O un pase libre que incentivará el consumo de drogas. Al final, la única certeza es que, como siempre, Estados Unidos prefirió la...
Cuando se habla de fabricación de drogas sintéticas y químicos peligrosos, nunca se menciona que el problema también está dentro de la Unión Americana.
En la ciudad de Nueva York le llaman el Upper East Side. Es la parte más alta del este. La zona más cara en la ciudad de viviendas. Se la muestro porque en este edificio de apartamentos carísimos, durante una redada la policía encontró una venta de distribución ilegal de armas de fuego y materiales para fabricar drogas ilegales.
See, that's the thing, Joseph. That's bullshit. You see, what you're saying now I understand what you're talking about. You see, you believe in this whole concept of good and evil, right? That the devil made you do it or Jesus made you do it, correct? Fuck no. Bullshit. People are evil. People are evil. And there's no such thing as the devil made me do it. Because scripturally speaking, there is such a thing as the evil spirit of God. In case you don't know this. So that whole ideology of like, oh, good and evil, and it's just fuck no, man. People can be either wicked or they're good. It's that simple. It's not complicated. You see, you believe in the New Testament, which has a lot of Eastern theology, whether you believe it or not. You're obviously new to this channel, so you don't know what I'm probably going to be referring to. So let me show you an example here. See, the Old Testament never talked about that shit. The Old Testament never said that it was about God and the devil. Fuck no. I'm going to show you something real quick. It says here on 1 Samuel 18, verse 10, it says, and it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God, sorry, let me rephrase that, not of God, from God came upon Saul. Did he say Satan? But Satan made Paul do it. Satan made Paul do it. Nah, fuck no. Most High has control of everything. That's why when you talk about Job 2 or 1, specifically Job 2, or 1, I'm sorry, he brings everybody in, all the spirits, and he presents himself. It ain't about good and evil, Jesus and Satan. It ain't about Satan and God, the Most High Creator. He fucking controls this dude here. There's other scriptures where it talks about that, there are spirits that are created for destruction, and they appease their creator. Because that's what they're made for. This concept of evil, Satan made me do it. Nah, bro. You either are evil and you manifest that shit within yourself, or you ain't. It's that simple. It ain't about Satan or Jesus making you do it. You're either fucking wicked or you're not.
Detenido Christopher Fox, de 30 años, hermano de Julia Fox, una de las modelos más exitosas en Estados Unidos. El padre de ambos fue arrestado también.
Last year, DEA agents said 4 out of every 10 pills on Houston streets were laced with fentanyl, leading users, including teenagers, to die without knowing what they took.
Lo peor es que habla de adolescentes en estas escuelas. Los adictos en Estados Unidos han estado consumiendo drogas hechas en sus mismos vecindarios. Los estadounidenses están consumiendo todo tipo de píldoras que se venden en las calles, en los parques, en las escuelas. Es de este documento que salió la cifra de muertos por consumo de todo tipo de narcóticos el año pasado. 106.854 personas muertas por sobredosis en solo 12 meses. Aquí también la encuesta nacional sobre uso de drogas documenta que hubo 41.100.000 estadounidenses que necesitaron tratamiento por drogadicción en el 2020. Y de ellos solamente 2.7 millones, apenas el 6,5%, pudieron recibirlo en centros especializados durante el 2021. Eso dejó sin atención especializada a 38.4 millones.
That's a lot of people addicted. 38.4 million addicts, man. That's fucking crazy. Who created this? This is crazy, family. 40 million people. Which more likely, that's who was on Medicaid and shit. You know, EBT and all that shit. And this wasn't just predominantly it's one particular nation and race of people. No, it's a combination of fucking people, bro. Black and white. You know what I'm saying? And this is the sad part. Matter of fact, this is the interesting part. Now they're going federally against the marijuana plant, right? And guess why? I'll tell you why, fam. They're going against the plan and passing laws to make sure that it's banned because the sales of alcohol have decreased. And big alcohol people don't want that. They want you to be an alcoholic. They want you to be an addicted type of alcoholism because obviously, you know, that flower, there's no such thing as addiction. There's no statistics ever showing that you can be addicted to that plant. I don't know if whoever is. It's kind of weird if you guys are, but statistically, scientifically speaking, there's no way that plant can addict you, whereas alcohol can. And now all of a sudden they're putting laws against marijuana because, you know, sales in alcohol ain't going up no more. Well, do they really care? Do they really care? Or is it just propaganda to fucking continue in power and destruction of other people that have been here since 1492, prior to you guys showing up?
154 personas muertas por sobredosis en solo 12 meses. Aquí también la encuesta nacional sobre uso de drogas documenta que hubo 41.100.000 estadounidenses que necesitaron tratamiento por drogadicción en el 2020. Y de ellos solamente 2.7 millones, apenas el 6,5%, pudieron recibirlo en centros especializados durante el 2021. Eso dejó sin atención especializada a 38.4 millones de adictos a las drogas ilegales. Adictos que requieren un tratamiento o drogas todos los días, las 24 horas del día.
I don't need to tell people about the amount of drugs that have poured in to our country, particularly over the last several years. Yes, made in China.
Ustedes estas cajas tienen.
Maybe it's made in China. Fine. Maybe it's made in Canada or Mexico or Colombia or Venezuela. But the fucking fact remains is the people that consume it. Why do you consume? What is the nature in your spirit? What are you lacking? What's going on? Let me show you now some stuff because we're going to finish it real quick. Just want to, you know, take me to a couple of things that I've been trying to express, but I've been waiting. Look, listen, the reason I'm showing you these videos now is because I've had them for a while. I just didn't get to them. And I just didn't want to go back and do an individual class on it. So I'm like, you know what, let me just slap them all together. Because it really shows our current event situation, you know what I mean, in a nutshell. So it's kind of helpful, man, at least for me. Hopefully it's for you.
Following the influx of Chinese fentanyl, an act of asymmetric war against the United States. The Drug Enforcement Agency estimates 90% of fentanyl comes from Chinese companies that not only operate legally inside of China, but are also subsidized and paid for by the Chinese Communist Party. China sends precursor chemicals.
I showed you this for that purpose. China's Communist Party. So they go blame other people, and then they say communist. And this is why you guys are fucking stupid. You fought for that shit, white America. You fought for that stupid fucking comment. It's communist. It's China. It's Mexicans. Instead of like, yo, it's you fuckers. You ain't raising your kids right. Why the fuck do your kids want to get high? Why do they need to check out at such a young age? I could understand if you're older, 20-something, you have a fucking family and I don't know, you picked the wrong one and it's just fucking crazy and you just want to check out. I get it. But as a kid, what are you checking out from, man? What are you checking out of? You're a fucking child. You're 12, 13 years old. What are you checking out of?
Which are then processed and manufactured into synthetic opioids by Mexican drug cartels.
Shit, like it's just like your typical organic Anglo-Saxon precise propaganda blaming other people of your stupidities, your fucking stupidities, your lack of parenting, your lack of compassion, your lack of empathy or sympathy towards your children. You're rushing to get them the fuck out of your house. You're the fact that when they're 40, 50, they want to send you to the old people homes. Y'all created that shit. You get rid of them when they turn 18. They get rid of you when you turn 65 and say, get the fuck out of here, Dad. I don't want to raise you. I don't want you in my house. You're out of here. Boom, out, whatever. That's what happens. Those are the cases. Nobody's lying about that shit. That's a fucking fact. But no, blame the Chinese, blame the Mexicans, blame everybody else, supposedly, instead of blaming your fucking self. You got a guy over here talking about the devil made me do it. Fuck no, man. You did it. You fucking did it. The devil didn't make you do shit. You fucking did it. We all carry evil, wicked spirits. You either listen to them or you don't. And if you listen to them on a consistent basis, and that just means that you're just a wicked ass person. It ain't no Satan made you do it. It's because God said, you ain't dealing with my spirit. You don't have my spirit in you. So I'm going to give you an evil spirit that I created. That's exactly what happens. It ain't Satan. It's the creator at all times. So this talk here, this is the devil right here. You guys are blaming other people, but yet it's your fucking fault.
That then smuggle them into the United States.
Fentanyl precursor chemicals are made in China.
It is not at all an area of dispute that China provides the fentanyl that comes into the United States. Yeah.
On the other hand, China claims the fentanyl crisis is entirely an American domestic issue that's being blamed on them. China claims Big Pharma's opioid corruption, weak U.S. laws, and a culture of American drug glorification are really to blame. This disagreement is a major problem for the world's two biggest economies. Attempts to stop this have failed, leading to calls for U.S. military intervention against Mexican cartels to stop the substance's devastating effects.
Now, let me show you. Para que vean, güey, because I like to show receipts. This is from I think ex-CIA, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Matter of fact, he will express it himself. Listen to this. It's just about maybe 40 seconds. Can you guys hear the video? Okay, you guys can't hear it now. Hold on. Huh. Hold on a second, family. This is weird. Hold on. Wonder if it's gonna do something that I it's probably doing it. Hold on. Yeah, it's fucking around with me right now. Hold on a second, fam. One, two, three, testing. 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear this now? Give me a second. Oh wow. All right, let's see.
An area of
There it
dispute
goes.
that
Okay,
China.
cool. All right, perfect. All right, so we left off right here. Okay, it was about to start right there. Okay, and here's where I intercepted, because here we see that the narcos. Yeah, as a matter of fact, he'll tell you.
Porque muchas veces con preguntas se mueve
My bad, family. That was my mistake, man. I should have just known better. Let's go.
a veces el mundo, y para no contestarlas directamente en persona, si les parece, escuchemos a alguien que sabe, un agente de la DEA, Polo Ruiz, del año 2020.
So not CIA, DEA.
Cuando estaba al frente de la DEA en Arizona, y esto contestaba
Listen to what he says, okay? So remember, keep in mind that we're talking about like narco shit, this and that, China, Mexico, whatever, all this, Colombia, Venezuela. Okay, sounds good. Let's go.
entrevista. Hemos tenido una iniciativa que se enfoca en los carteles domésticos, en donde buscamos, vemos, porque muchas veces yo... Perdón.
Es que usted ya me está hablando de carteles domésticos.
Sí.
Yo soy de las personas que creo que en Estados Unidos no hay cárteles.
Sí hay.
¿Usted puede decir que hay cárteles?
Oh, definitivamente, sí. I mean, right?
I would say
Yes.
Like what?
Well, there's a lot of these organizations, they build these cells on the north side and on the, meaning on the U.S. side. So they built, they have built these cell organizations, but they need people they bring in a couple of people here. Okay, you're going to be in charge of the transport, you're going to be in charge of this, but you need people to move this stuff. And who holds all these territories? Some of the gangs hold all these territories.
So,
and the gangs is that's the domestic cartel, where we look at these organizations that control these towns, like in Los Angeles, in New York, in Chicago.
See that? You see that right there? So when they sit here and say that, oh, it's these Mexicans, it's these fucking
Devastating effect.
Foreign people bringing the drugs inside. Fuck no, it's your people. Feeding your kind. Not giving a fuck of your own. Because that's what you guys believe in, right? Capitalism. They're going to capitalize on you. That's what capitalism means. In order for you to succeed, someone else has to fail. Capitalism is about winning and losing. It's not usually about playing fair game. It's like Monopoly. It's no different. It's who can outsmart who. Who can make the best decisions long term and short term. That's why when I first started the video, I showed you the video about Cristobal Colon with his pedophilia shit. That spirit's been here since they came, fam. This isn't hate. These are facts. And the people here suffering, they're not gringos. And they're not black. And they're not predominantly Asian or, Arabs. They're our gente, indigenous of these lands that never left.
Growing calls from Republicans to send the U.S. military into Mexico to combat drug cartels.
For example, in 2022, over 107,000 Americans died from overdoses in the United States, and fentanyl poisoning became the leading cause of death of Americans 18 to 45 years of age. A 2019 paper found that prescription opioids accounted for 44% of the decline in labor force participation among men. In asymmetric warfare, one nation seeks to exploit the other's relative weakness. In this case, China's accused of exploiting America's appetite.
This is why it's like, oh, it's China. It's because they're bro. It's you guys. There's
a bunch of heroin going on. It's killing people.
It's like you don't see Chinese people using drugs, do you? You don't see Mexicans using drugs for the most part. You know what I mean? Like I think like every society, they have their normal percentage. This country has a massive amount of drug addicts. 40 million people have a fucking drug addiction, bro. What the fuck? And you know what's funny? That 40 million matches the 40 million Medicaid people that Donald Trump and his group is trying to fucking knock off Medicaid. Because they keep saying 40 million people, about 46 or something people are going to lose Medicaid. Well, we're seeing that 40 million plus people are addicted to drugs that need it every day. Is there a connection going on here? Do they want them to die? You see what I mean? Do they fucking care? They don't care. It starts at the home in the spirit of the father and the mother. If you don't give a fuck about your kid, this is what happens. So when you're a politician, you don't care about these people because you never cared about your own kind in your own home. Turn 18, get out. 65, fuck you, I'm out.
Instantly.
Fuck me. The range it paused me. All I want is a break.
We lost 6 friends in like about space of 2 weeks.
Shit is going to hit the fan. This city is going to go dark.
This is how Europe might be about to experience its own deadly opioid crisis, and how the shift is being driven by bad drug policy at home and by wars thousands of miles away.
And that's a fact.
Announced the launch of Operation Southern Spear to target suspected drug traffickers, he says. In a post on X, Hegseth wrote, quote, "Today I'm announcing Operation Southern Spear."
Operation Cracker Barrel. Operation Get Rid of Cracker Barrel.
Led by Joint Task Force Southern Spear and Southcom. This mission defends our homeland, removes narco-terrorists from our hemisphere, and secures our homeland from the drugs that are killing our people, unquote. The announcement comes as the Pentagon continues to amass warships in the Caribbean. The USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier arrived earlier this week. The U.S. now has 15,000 military personnel in the region. It's the largest buildup in the region in decades, according to the New York Times. Over the past 2 months, the U.S. has blown up at least 20 boats in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific. The latest strike killed 4 people on Thursday. The Pentagon claims the boats were carrying drugs, but officials have acknowledged they don't know who's been killed. Critics have denounced the strikes as illegal extrajudicial killings. We begin today's show with Juan Tapia, the America's Deputy Director at Human Rights Watch. We welcome you to Democracy Now!, Juan. Begin by talking about Operation Southern Spear and what this means.
Amy, thank you for having me. We don't know what Operation Southern Spear means. The Secretary has not provided details. But we have every reason to be concerned because in the build-up of this announcement, as you mentioned, 80 people have been killed in what are extrajudicial executions under international law. There is no denying that the problem of narcotics in the United States and the problem of organized violence in Latin America are serious, but they are not armed conflicts.
Let me ask you, Joseph, is Satan making the white man do this shit to our people? Joseph Anthony, my lack 221. Is a white man doing this because the devil is making him do it? Is that your excuse?
And the US government cannot pretend otherwise to circumvent its obligations under international law. The US government cannot strike boats as it pleases. These are extrajudicial executions, which are grave violations.
And Juan, isn't it true that most of the drugs that come into the United States, whether it's fentanyl or cocaine, come through Mexico? And yet the Trump administration is directing all of its attention to the Caribbean and the Pacific just off the coast of South America.
Well, fentanyl comes from Mexico. Cocaine comes mostly from Colombia, in most cases through the Pacific. But regardless of the drug routes that are being employed to bring these drugs, striking boats is not the appropriate way to respond to organized crime. These people should be brought to justice.
No different, and this is what I'm trying to tell you, Reza. Like, they're treating you like they're treating Gaza, because they made the same justification. You know, like, oh, terrorists, we're just gonna blow them up, and they just blew people up. And you guys don't, I don't know, you guys don't give a fuck, you don't care, you don't notice it, you just like, it doesn't matter to you. 80 plus people have died already on those boats. They're just shooting people randomly. I think they have drugs. Peace, a rato. I think they're narcos. Peace, I'm white. Just like Trump said, I could shoot somebody in the middle of the street and I will not get arrested. Yeah, you're right. You just blew people up in the middle of the fucking ocean. You're right. You're not getting arrested. You're very true. It's very true. You know, because it's very clear that to white folks, like, raza don't matter. It's very clear. That's why I say, hey, Esau, your days are numbered.
They should be prosecuted. And importantly, the United States should be supporting effort to dismantle these organized crime groups. Striking vessels in the Caribbean are extrajudicial executions which are banned by international law.
And has there been any attempt by international organizations, especially the United Nations, to address this issue?
Well, the UN Human Rights Chief, Volker Turker, has expressed consternation about these violations. We have seen expressions of concern by Latin American governments, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, amongst others. And we at Human Rights Watch have a team ready to document what is happening in the Caribbean and to make sure that we expose and denounce violations of human rights law as they are occurring.
We're talking to Juan Papier, the America's Deputy Director at Human Rights Watch, and our own Juan Gonzalez. Juan, you were in Panama for the U.S. invasion. This was during President George H.W. Bush. You certainly know and have studied and have been there throughout Latin America when it comes to U.S. foreign policy. Can you talk about your observations of what's happening here with these extrajudicial killings of scores of people? It is astounding that the U.S. has not presented any evidence that they are narco terrorists, as Pete Hegseth says.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think especially now with not only with these attacks on boats and these killings, but now with the arrival of an unprecedented military force. We're talking the aircraft carrier, the largest aircraft carrier in the world, the USS Gerald Ford, has just arrived in the Caribbean with another 5,000 troops and several other battleships accompanying it. We now have 15,000 U.S. troops in the region, thousands of them based in Puerto Rico. The government has reopened Roosevelt Roads Naval Base, which they had closed, and U.S. planes at the old Ramey Air Force Base in Aguadilla. All of these soldiers are not there to hang out. They're there to take military action. We have to be clear. Even though the government hasn't announced it, it's clear that this is what's coming. Our government is embarking on a totally unprovoked military assault and regime change operations in Latin America. The Trump administration has openly accused not one, but two Latin American presidents of drug dealing without any proof. Nicolás Maduro of Venezuela and Gustavo Petro of Colombia, and threatened to kill Maduro. This is a bizarre return to the gunboat diplomacy of the early 20th century. And the big prize being not democracy or not stopping drug trafficking, but grabbing the Venezuelan oil fields, the largest oil reserves in the world. The problem is this is not the old Latin America that the U.S. could bully at will. The countries of the region are today independent sovereign states. For most of South America, the U.S. is no longer even the main trading partner. China is. Next door to Venezuela is Colombia, the country that for more than 50 years was involved in the longest-running civil war in the region's history and has perhaps the largest number of veteran left-wing guerrillas in Latin America's history. The governments of Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Honduras, Cuba, and Nicaragua will not just quietly accept U.S. aggression on Venezuela. President Maduro has appealed for international volunteers to come to Venezuela to oppose any U.S. invasion. And you can bet that perhaps thousands of young Cubans, Nicaraguans, Colombians, and other Latin Americans will do just that. So progressives and people of goodwill of the U.S. and Puerto Rico, it's time for those of us here to stand up and say that we will not support any attempt to bring back the old gunboat diplomacy and to invade another Latin.
I don't know if Luke Duke. I don't know. It almost seems like he kind of is because he's talking about the devil made him do it. Then he's calling me a hypocrite, and he says, call me clown, fucking hypocrite. I don't know what else he said earlier. I mean, you can read a bunch of his shit, and I was like, yo, he's on ketamine. He's probably high. And as soon as I said that, he stopped posting shit. So, you know, we do know that Christmas Christians love to get high. I'm glad that statement is picking up, man, because I coined that shit. Christmas Christians, bro.
American country, and we need to do it soon because this stuff is moving very quickly.
Juan, you mentioned that you have Venezuela, the largest oil producer in Latin America, that the U.S. is targeting. Then, to everyone's shock, including many in his own administration, Trump announced he's going to attack Nigeria, which is Africa's most populous country and the largest oil producer in Africa. He said that the attack would be vicious and sweet. And then you go back to Iraq, one of the largest oil producers in the Middle East, before the U.S. invaded Iraq in 2003 after 9/11, which Iraq had nothing to do with.
Yes, it's a clear, continued policy of the United States to control oil production as much as it can, as it continues, as the Trump administration continues on this crazy, bizarre attempt to corner as much oil supply as it can, as it continues to deny the existence of the climate change or the climate catastrophe we face.
That's called a gangster move. These are gangsters, bro. That's what they are. They're political gangsters. Let's finish it out with these 2 videos, man, and we done. I got to get to my family. But it's been a pleasure sticking around here for 2 hours and change. You know how I do it, family. I don't ask for nothing back. I guess you could just say I asked for some support. Give me some likes. Make sure you share this shit so we can get to our people, man. Because enough is enough.
The Sackler family produced a pill called Oxycontin, which could not get FDA approved because it was so strong and addictive that it was actually considered stronger than street level 8. Opioid epidemic in America was all due to one Zionist Jewish family, the Sackler family. They're responsible for the deaths of 500,000 Americans and the severe addiction of between 3 to 6 million Americans, which had their lives ruined, pushed away from their families, living on the streets, and many even ending up in jail. Unlike the Sackler family, which in the end would not serve any jail time at all. In the mid-90s, the Sackler family produced a pill called Oxycontin, which could not get FDA approved because it was so strong and addictive that it was actually considered stronger than street level H. The Sackler family had to bribe the FDA into pushing it through, which there's blame on the FDA for that because they're supposed to protect us from this sort of stuff. And for the next 24 years, while receiving data that this pill was addictive and killing people, the Sackler family was still pushing pharmacists to prescribe it to their patients and pushing it out there to all everyday Americans to get addicted so that they can make insane amounts of money, billions of dollars. And the money that they gained destroying society and causing all this addiction, they used that money to put their names all inside museums, colleges, even hospitals. They even used that money to fund anti-Muslim groups and even funded big politicians, Republican and Democrat, like Bush and Obama, and helped to fund fellow Zionist Jewish politicians like Chuck Schumer and keep them into office. They used money off our destruction to promote themselves and keep their people in power. And how does this story end? We don't know how much money they profited off of this, but we know it was at least over $10 billion from how much they siphoned off their own pharma business. They received no jail time whatsoever. Their addict victims ended up doing more time than them, and they had to pay a $7 billion fine, which they still made a huge profit. They got away with this because they're a bunch of Zios, our court system's run by a bunch of Zios, and our media protects them and they're a bunch of Zios too. They're all together and they're all part of the same system that uses us and destroys us and profits in the process. And they don't care about us, they only care about themselves.
Here's the funny part about that whole thing, right? Like, white folks, stop it. Stop it, white people. Stop trying to say like, oh, we're not damn those people because those guys have the star and they claim to be Jewish. No, they're fucking European like you. They're white people just like you. They're just claiming to be Jews like you're claiming to be Christians. There's no difference. They're fucking white people like you. So you're white people, not Jews with a star. You know what I mean? Like, stop doing that shit. White folks, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Don't listen to Nicky Tricky, the pegger and shit, because I got video on his ass. He's fucking gay, okay? Just Nick Fuentes is a fucking gay dude. And I got no issues with gay people. Y'all live your life the way you want. But what I hate is fake motherfuckers that hate gay people and are totally gay themselves. Because that tells me they're the biggest snakes in the world. They hate themselves enough to fucking hate others and shit. So, yeah, I want to believe the book. Go ahead. I'm pretty sure I'm going to show you guys a video. He's got a date with a dude and shit. He's talking about showering with him or kissing him and shit. You'll hear yourself. I'm not making it up. Everybody has a skeleton. We say it in Spanish. Todos, por la mayor parte, tienen un lado flaco, güey. And you just got to find that shit.
Backers have always been really, really good at is selling a highly addictive drug, often a deadly drug in the case of Oxycontin. And they've been really, really good at getting doctors to prescribe this addictive drug for an enormous universe of patients. The Sacklers lied about how addictive the drug was in order to convince doctors and patients that it wasn't dangerous. The Sacklers, what they really wanted to do is they wanted to get rid of this fear of opioids. They called it opiophobia, and then they called the addiction threat pseudo-addiction. And they were actually very effective at getting people to kind of break down their fear over what opioids could do. Of course, as it turns out, those fears were really, really well-founded. And what we now know, after a couple studies have been done, people ask, okay, well, how important were the Sacklers really? This was one company. Didn't other pharmaceutical companies get involved? And it's really important to understand that Purdue Pharma and the Sacklers built this market.
And Pharma built the market of fentanyl addiction. Hands down, no one can fucking deny that shit. So family, appreciate you being here. Sorry for being so late on a Sunday. Wish I could have done it sooner. Share and like, please. You know, it's not a big deal, man. It's just a video session that I wanted you guys to go through with me so you can understand and see the corruption from the beginning to the end and how the hypocrisy is like literally laughing at you because you don't see it. You keep blaming Mexicans and people that look like me. Sad shit. But it's all good, man. Like the Hindus say, karma is a motherfucker.
Mexicano bandido, todo el barrio prendido, siempre ando bien cuido, siempre poniendo ruido. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, yo defiendo mi tierra, no me dejo de nadie, yo cuido a los míos, mi raza se aferra. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera, yo la levanto por donde quiera, verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera, el barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera, yo la levanto por donde quiera, verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera, el barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Me voy tendido, me voy empinando mi bote, un poco mareado por la bebida y el borlote, me tiene hasta la riata la gente con su mitote, pero me despreocupo, me pelan todo el garrote, me para la chota, ya es por mi apariencia, que hay tantos delitos, que hay tanta demencia, yo no cargo nada, no rimas de estos MCs pa' ponerme más feliz. Unos baisas de hachís, mis paisas en el gabacho bien truchas con la polis. Loco en Guanajuato con los ojos bien tumbados, de coto con el Quesada, rifando por todos lados. Atento si prendo un blunt en cabina cuando grabo, represento Nuevo León junto a mi carnal el Davo. Cuando voy pa' Jalisco el pasado está olvidado, con el perro de la C bien grifo pedo y enfiestado. Chécate mi banderón unido como había soñado, bien bajado ese balón, compa Lefty bien bajado. Puro hip hop mexa hasta que amanezca. Pásenme un mezcal y que no se apague la yesca. Ya saben que aquí andamos pilas pa' lo que se ofrezca. Si escribo estas rimas es pa' que se enorgullezca.
Verde marihuana, blanca cocaína, roja la sangre que escurre de una nueva herida. Yo salí de la ruina, nunca se me olvida. Con disciplina y respeto sigo en siempre la movida. Ando bien high, la vida es un freestyle. Disfruta lo que hay, vivo entre el bien y el mal, carnal. Crazy life todo el día, viendo live. Pinto tu barda con spray, lo que canto es real. Azules y rojas las sirenas que me persiguen. No suben pa' la virgen, salen todos cuando chifle. Mi barrio no lo pisen, que andamos todos grises. Maldito policía, no quiero que me revises. Prende la mota en Canala o en Hitter. Ando con mi flota y el dealer. Tenemos lo que se te ofrezca, tú nada más pide. Me dijo mi madre que de la envidia me cuide.
Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera.
Ya, ábranse cabrones, llegó el mexicano partiendo sin necesidad de palanca. Todos jugamos en la misma liga, yo soy titular, tú ves desde la banca. Disfruto cada cosa que me pasa, colaboro y mi carrera se levanta. El mismo cabrón que antes no tenía nada se la pasa viajando y dice que canta. Por eso me caga enfermarme de la garganta. Pero aguanta, traigo mata natural y humo de planta. 2, 3 cabrones dando lata y yo haciendo más plata. De esto la vida se trata y pa' que sepas no es barata. MC Davo los desbarata con cada escalón que sube. Yo tuve la suerte de hacerme fama en YouTube. Hay 2, 3 raperos de antaño que me bajé de su nube. Los mandé pa' su casa y de premio hasta les pagué el Uber. Si alguien me tira es porque sabe bien que domino el negocio y quiere de mi parte. No quiero darlas de grande, pero si me tiras la neta me toca humillarte. Soy capitán, llevo el estandarte. Somos muy pocos los que hacemos arte. Este flow si es de Marte, tú dale like y comparte.
México lindo y bandido, diario a Diosito le pido que me cuide a la familia si un día el cora ya no late. Estoy bendecido porque me cuidan los míos. Orgullosamente me exatamos locos de remate. Jaque mate, no hable de volar si viene gateando. La cosa por la frontera se pone violenta, no importa el rango. Toda la raza jalándole duro, si hay algo seguro es la muerte en donde ando. El sudor y la sangre en la frente, los de alzada controlando. Se roban la atención, ya saben quiénes son. Vatos locos con sazón como el de un corridón. No quiera tomarme el pelo si ando todo pelón. Levantando la bandera, viva México cabrón. Es el perrito de la C. La bandera con un águila, Simón, mi tierra es esta. Me vale si mi piel o si mi acento les molesta. Acá jalan horas extras, nunca duermen la siesta. Están los que van pa'l jale y los que la viven de fiesta. Otros que en el pintón se tatúan de corazón. 3 colores en el pecho, morirían por su nación. Aunque su puto gobierno los puso en la situación de no terminar la escuela y terminar en la prisión. ¡Viva México, ladrones! ¿Qué hubo, les presidente? Ya saben que por mí policías chinguen a 20. Y ahí están mis 20 pa' la cagua. Aguas, que es tierra caliente de Chiapas hasta Chihuahua. Wow, 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 yipi-yo, yipi-yucas. Guanas, Montequín, Aguas, Tijuas y San Lucas. San Luis Potoyes, Mataulipas, La Puebluca. Dime si o no loco, acá tienen lo que buscas.
Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Puro hip hop mexa, perros, 2023. Hey yo, hey yo.
Somos la santa carnal. Ey, ey, dale, los chidones de la plaza.
Oye, DJ donde que los scratches. Desde alzada, mi perro. No saben quién soy o sí. Oye.
Ical. Hijo, abre los ojos. Cuerpo queda con nosotros, pero tu espíritu debe seguir. Busca la luz. Aléjate de las sombras. Deja que nuestro dolor sea tu fuerza. Desde aquí iluminamos tu camino. Lucha como nosotros ante esta pena tan grande. Yo soy tú. Tú eres yo. La muerte que hoy nos separa, mañana volverá a unirnos. Eres libre, hijo.